And we have a tornado warning now. This line of storms that we have been tracking throughout the hour. Now a storm passing through portions of Lancaster County showing signs of spin. And that does mean that there is the potential at any moment for this storm to produce a tornado. This tornado warning includes a good chunk of Lancaster County until 5 o'clock, including Manor, Conestoga, Lancaster, and areas around Lancaster City too. This does include locations like Willow Street, Millersville, and then it extends all the way out to Upper Leacock, Lampeter, and also Paradise. We'll zoom in though. We'll take a little bit of a closer look and zoom in on some of the locations that are included in this warning. Anywhere from Wabank to Garden Hills, East Hempfield Township included in this, and also Manor Township. Now I'm seeing a lot of the lightning and the reds located here going over Lancaster as we speak, so I want to take a wider view here and try to see if we can switch our radar mode to velocity mode. What this does is help us see rotation within the storm. And immediately I can see, just looking at this, why a tornado warning has been issued for this portion of this particular cluster of storms that's moving through. Whenever you see green on this mode, this means that winds are going toward the radar site. And then you have the red, which indicates winds are going away. So two wind speeds going in two different directions is a sign of counterclockwise rotation. And this rotation literally located just to the east of West Hempfield Township and north of Lancaster County, crossing over Route 30. So anybody located in these spots that I have just mentioned or just to the east, you need to be heading to your safe space immediately. And those locations include an interior room, preferably the lowest level of your floor that includes a basement, but also something that is away from windows and doors. It's always a good idea too if you have stuff to throw over you, like a blanket, a really thick one, or even a helmet to help as well, because even if this storm isn't producing a tornado, there is the potential for damaging wind gusts as well that could be comparable to a low or a very weak EF0 tornado. So it is still possible, even if a tornado isn't on the ground, which we don't have confirmation of just yet. It is possible, though, that this storm could still be damaging across those portions. Zooming in and trying to take a closer look here to see a better idea of where we might have some of this rotation on the radar here. And I am seeing some mixed messages here looking at our storm relative velocity mode. This does indicate that we could be seeing the radar sites overlapping. Unfortunately, parts of Lancaster County is in a little bit of a blind area where the State College radar drops off and then tries to pick up the Mount Holly, New Jersey radar, which is used in the Philadelphia area. So I am going to try to walk off screen here and see if I can get a better view here. If we could pull those graphics up full so that I can get a little bit of a better glean at this, I think that's going to be pretty helpful in this particular situation. It does look like, though, some of this rotation might be just to the east of Lancaster now at this time. This is looking at storm velocity mode, which is specifically to the storm itself. And we do have some green indicating that we have rotation going toward the radar, and we do also have some rotation going away from the radar indicated here by the red. So the green going, the red moving away. So there is a little bit of indication of spin here. Some of the main rotation here, have to keep an eye on that for sure. That's near Manor, that's near New Danville, that's near West Hempfield Township, that's near Lampeter, Herville, Conestoga Township, all in the path of this particular storm. I'm going to check in and see really quickly if the NWS has any confirmation about any rotation, and right now it just says tornado possible based on radar indicated spin alone. That is definitely going to have to be something we monitor over the next several minutes here in particular. Like I said, a little bit of a blind spot here as radars start to overlap over in Lancaster County. Unfortunately, it is just one of the limitations here of the technology, but I'll do my best to walk you guys through it as best as I can. And yes, looking here I'm trying to pull up some of this. Looking here, we do see some indication of some of that. I'm going to try to see actually if I shift the radars and try to read another radar instead. You're about to see that change, and there you go right here. That's a sign of switching back and forth between radars here. I know it might be a little bit confusing, so bear with me here. I'm just trying to find the part of the storm where there is the rotation, and I do think that that is to the west of Lancaster right now, where we are seeing this in particular, and some of those brighter colors indicating where there are some wind speeds. Okay, I think this is finding the storm in particular, and I do think we have to watch this part of it for sure. Moving through portions of Lancaster County. So just to reiterate this, there is a tornado warning in effect for a decent chunk of Lancaster County until 5 o'clock. So we are going to stay with this warning, and we are going to follow it until the warning is over. I'm going to put this into motion quickly. It'll help us see the path of the rotation on the radar, especially if we take a wider view here, which is exactly what I'm going to do. And yes, this is where the rotation is. Okay, we can see it perfectly now. It is starting to show up. The radar adjustments that I've made have definitely made all of the difference here. This is exactly the area that we are watching at this very moment. If you are in the path of this storm just to the west of Lancaster or in Lancaster City, you need to take shelter immediately and get to your safe space. East Hempfield Township, Garden Hills, like I said, Lancaster City, Fruitville, Eden, East Lampeter. If you know somebody who might be on the road traveling right now, because this is an extremely busy time of evening, obviously, and this is obviously an area where there are a lot of intersecting busy roadways. This is something where we have to keep a close eye on our friends, our family, and try to give them a heads up and let them know. I'm going to take a look at velocity mode here and see if I can alter the radar here like I did in the other with the other mode. One was storm relative velocity. They have their different purposes. I'm not going to get into it right now because the most important information is who is in the path of this storm. Kind of seeing this is kind of useless. So we'll stick with storm relative velocity here, and I'm going to pop the tornado warning back up instead, and we will go and take a closer look at that, of course. So this is a look at the current storm that we are watching closely for rotation. We've got a tornado warning that is currently in effect for Lancaster County, as we've got this cluster of showers and storms that's continuing to race to the east. Areas included in it, but I do think you're in the clear now. Cresswell, Manor Township, Conestoga. I think right where we're heading towards Lancaster City is still where we have to watch. A little bit of a notch, it looks like, has tried to develop here along the northernmost fringe of the storm. And I am just seeing now, I'm not going to show it right away, but a flash flood warning has been issued for Lancaster County. This tornado warning is kind of taken priority here, of course. But that is going to be something with this hefty rainfall that you see associated with it that I think you all need to be aware of as well. So I'm just going to pass along that bit of information for you. What I'm saying here, though, looking on radar, actually looking at this in real time, seeing a little bit what might be a bit of a notch trying to form, and I think this is where they're seeing the rotation and the spin trying to take hold. Look at this little notch here in the radar that I'm trying to point out with this arrow. That could be where we're trying to see some of the rotation get in, and that actually lines up with what I've seen on the storm relative velocity mode here as it tries its best to detect some of that rotation. So we're going to zoom in even closer here because I think this is the area to watch in particular just by evaluating this in real time. Garden Hills, Quaker Hills, Lancaster, West Lampeter as we continue to move a little more to the east. And I know you can see it getting a little shifty here. And this is, again, where we're kind of at the mercy of the technology and some of its weaknesses, unfortunately, where we've got these overlapping radar sites that keep going back and forth. But it does look like the bulk of the rotation is currently heading towards Lancaster City, moving through it right now at this point, heading towards Eden, East Lampeter, Upper Laycock, Bird in Hand are going to be in the path of this storm. Those folks whose names, your town names or city names that I have just mentioned, you need to be heading to your safe space now. And you do have to make sure that you are heading to your lowest level floor and make sure that it is an interior room that is away from windows and doors. If you know somebody who might be traveling right now, have them drive. I know there are a lot of businesses nearby, a sturdy structure like a grocery store or something of the sort. If you can tell them to pull off quickly and find somewhere to take cover, that would be very helpful, because this is obviously a very busy time of the afternoon and the evening. But it is worth passing along this information for our loved ones. Better to be safe than sorry, because whenever a tornado warning is issued, it does mean that radar has indicated that there is rotation, but so far no confirmation of a tornado. But if a storm is rotating, it does have the potential to produce a tornado at any moment. So please make sure that you are taking shelter immediately. Please make sure that you are taking cover and that you are heeding the warnings, because again, at the very worst case scenario, you have the actual tornado, but this is still a severe thunderstorm that is capable of producing damaging wind gusts. And as long as that's a possibility too, all the more reason to make sure that you are taking cover indoors. Scanning and looking and seeing in our NWS chat, where we can actually communicate with them and what their thoughts are, and if they've heard any reports from trained spotters, who are actually a really helpful and useful part of the process. So far, no actual reports of a tornado being spotted, which of course always a good sign, but as long as the warning is there and the storm is spinning, you need to make sure that you are taking cover. So I am going to pull up the full-size tornado warning, and it does look like they extended it. Oh, I am hearing words now, though, that Eastern York is, or can you say that one more time? I'm sorry, one of my producers is talking to me. Eastern York High School has seen damage. Sorry, that was my producer talking to me. Has seen damage, and I can't confirm this 100% because this is visual and not from a trained spotter, but they do think it could have been from a tornado. Again, that is not confirmed. That is not from a trained spotter, but there is damage there. So that means these storms have a history of being nasty. And yeah, the rotation has definitely been lifting north. This warning has been expanded now and extended more to the northwest to include Warwick, Ephrata, Upper Lake Cock, Earl Township, Denver. Brecknock Township, you're just outside of it, but this is a nasty storm that's spinning, so do just take cover immediately, and please make sure that you are heeding the warnings. Make sure that you are heading inside and that you are taking cover. I think it's also a good idea, in case folks are just joining now, to make sure that you are calling friends in these areas that I just mentioned. I'll zoom in: Clay, Rossville, West Earl, Upper Laycock, Earl Township, Terry Hill, Hinkletown, East Cocalico, West Cocalico. All of these places that I have just named off are under this latest tornado warning. So I tried to manipulate my graphics system a little bit so that I can show the newly issued tornado warning. So this is the one that we are looking at, and I'm going to try to readjust now my storm relative velocity mode, shifting it up a little bit more so that we can see where this rotation has been going. There we go. I think this is kind of the way to look at it here. If I go too far, though, unfortunately, I lose the best visual. So this will have to do, but this is where the latest rotation is. So we'll work this together. So we've got winds going toward the radar. That is in this direction of this arrowhead that I'm showing you right here. And then winds are going away from the radar in this direction in particular. So looking at this, I do see the rotation, and that is right here. So this rotation is currently moving northeast of Lancaster, and it is moving to the northeast. Okay, we got some storm reports coming in from York County Office of Emergency Management, and this is being posted in the NWS chat. Apparently in Lower Windsor Township, York County, a call stated a tornado has hit homes in York County. Winds blown in and roofs have been blown off. First responders are on the set of the scene confirming damage, and if my producers can hear me, we need to make sure that we are taking care of that. And this is a very dangerous storm because this obviously has a history. Possible tornado touchdown near Columbia and Lancaster County. I know this is all coming in after the fact here, after this warning was issued. But with that said, there very well could be a tornado on the ground right now. Sometimes these tornadoes, they can lift up and then come back down. It can be very spotty, very scattered, the damage. So please just take this warning seriously. We have call-ins now, reports that they saw that folks have seen a tornado. So I'm going to use strong language here, and I'm going to just keep saying it. If you are near Lancaster City or points to the northeast, you need to be taking shelter now. You need to make sure that you are getting into your lowest level floor, an interior room, away from any windows, anything that could make you susceptible to debris. It is very important as we continue to follow this. I'm trying to get a better read here, a better shift on our radar sites here to track this now that we unfortunately are overlapping, officially for real here, overlapping radars. This is kind of falling into the place where this gets a little tricky here. So for now, I am just going to pull up the current tornado warning. And yes, I can see at least on our normal radar view that this is the storm. This is the part of the storm we have to keep an eye on, even though I can't exactly zoom in immediately on the exact rotation here. But this is where I think we need to keep an eye on at this very moment. So near Upper Laycock, East Petersburg, everybody needs to get to their safe space immediately. Lots of reports are now flooding in, by the way, flooding in from the MWS here. I'm going to click here. There's a Facebook link. I'm trying to see if I can figure out where this is. Okay, this is the report from Columbia. I am looking at a structure. Oy. I'm seeing a brick building that has been damaged. It's an older building, but whenever we're seeing brick and literally pieces of a building falling apart, I mean, that does signal tornado damage, what I'm looking at. And I've been doing this for a while. I have been covering tornado warnings, and I have seen damage. I think that that's a safe, okay. Some of these reports, although they're not official and from official train spotters, I think we can say this is a tornado at this point, or at least a tornado has been down on the ground. Yes, this storm is very dangerous, needs to be taken seriously now. I mean, obviously every warning needs to be taken seriously, but especially now at this point. With that said, to take this seriously, here are a few points to keep in mind for tornado warnings, because these are extremely dangerous. And after the damage that I have seen, producers who are listening in right now, Columbia, that's definitely where there's some intense damage right now, and we need to, get somebody there soon, of course, on the way. This is definitely leaving a path of destruction. Make sure that you are going to the lowest level of your home, sturdy building, ditch or a culvert, low-lying areas. Don't stay in a mobile home. Those are the places you need to go to. And like I said earlier, this is a busy time. If you know somebody's traveling home, tell them to pull over, go to a grocery store, a really sturdy structure. I know this in the Lancaster City area. This is obviously a very busy, a very populated area, but this is also very dangerous if there are commuters on the road in a very heavily traveled area. I mean, if we zoom in here on this particular tornado warning, if we could go back to this, guys, thank you so much. If we go back here, I mean, there's 222 just to begin with. Obviously, that very busy, heavily congested Route 30 222 interchange right now because of all of the construction that has been going on for months and months now. If you know somebody who might be in that vicinity, traveling, coming home from work, or even going to work, call a friend, look out for a friend here. There are damage reports. There is a history of this. I am not exaggerating this. I have just seen some of the pictures that has come in. And yes, oh my goodness. Yes, we are getting reports that it was more than likely now from some train spotters now that this might possibly have been a tornado. I mean, I'm looking at brick buildings that have been destroyed, and there is a video now from, let me see if I can see some of the footage out of Columbia here. that's being sent into the NWS chat. I can't see it. It looks like, okay, I can see. It does look like some swirl. It's not very...
I help you start your mornings on Fox 43. I'm a longtime animal advocate, and I'm building my life here in South Central PA with my fiance. I love showcasing all the good happening right in our own backyards and sharing your stories that show heart and resiliency. Because when news moves fast, you need a team that moves with you. Make the move to South Central PA's #1 streaming newscast. Weekdays 5 to 11 a.m. only on Fox 43.
Reports of potential damage in York County in a few spots.
We'll spend the evening monitoring weather radar, traffic condition.
Stream Fox 43 free on your TV or phone.
I'm James Tully. I help start your mornings on Fox 43. This has always been my home. Every morning, get the coffee ready and start your day with us from the capital city and beyond. Make the move to South Central Pennsylvania's #1 streaming newscast. Make the move to Fox 43.
Fox 43 Morning News starting at 5 a.m. Stream now on your TV or phone. A team you trust. Fox 43 News at 10. Fox 43 News at 10. Keeping you informed with the most accurate information. The information you need from the team you trust. Fox 43 News at 10.
East Cocalico, West Cocalico barely, but based on the current trajectory of the storm, that might pass you just to the south as long as there is no random curl or twist to the path of the storm, which can happen, of course. That's why if you're in the polygon, even if the part of the storm that might be producing the tornado, okay, I think we just, yeah, here we go. The part of the storm that might be producing the tornado, you just gotta, even if you're close to it, you gotta treat it like it's coming your way no matter what. We can never get into a false sense of security with these types of situations. It is very important here. Storm currently passing through Leola as we speak, or at least the rotating part of the storm towards New Holland. Haven't mentioned New Holland, but I have a very trusted radar app that handles the rotation part of it, and switching between the radars a little bit better here. Let me see if I can get to my storm velocity mode and get a good look at it here. Yeah, I think it's finally popping up a little bit better. Yes, I think it's popping up a little bit better here. And we can see some of this rotation by some of these reds and some of these greens. And this is the part of the storm that we need to watch at this point. If I may zoom in here, and if I may do some drawing right about here. That includes West Earl, that includes Upper Laycock. I think those are the places right now that have to really watch, and Leola. Those are the places that have to really watch the bulk of this rotation right now. This storm is still spinning, and it is continuing to move to, I believe the warning has been extended until 5:15 now. If it was until, or excuse me, yeah, set to expire at 5:15 now. That may or may not have changed. I apologize for not being able to keep track of that. That might have been with the new warning when they dropped the old warning. The original warning, I'm sorry. The original warning was at 5 o'clock. The secondary one that they issued went until 5:15, although it does seem like some of the rotation is shifting out of the warning area, just looking at it. So I think that's something we might have to watch here. Okay, they just issued a new tornado warning now to replace the current one. This one, yes, is in effect until 5:15, and it does include Brownstown, Leola, New Holland, Terry Hill, Ephrata, So this is a continuation, and they are dropping parts that are out of the area, out of the warning area right now, but where I have circled is still where you need to be paying attention. So West Earl, Terry Hill, this storm, I mean, this is some really broad rotation at this point, but we're also at the point too with this where we're overlapping radars. So if the rotation is that strong, I mean, it could be more intense the lower we get, the closer to the ground, because the radar shoots up at an angle. So when it's far enough away, it's hitting the mid-level portion of the storm and not necessarily the storm base. So that is something to take into account here, but this is still some impressive rotation here as I try to scan multiple levels of radar here. Yeah, still have to watch this very closely, and even, I mean, just looking at it, it's producing damaging wind gusts. Even if the tornado, you know, briefly touched down, pop back up, because sometimes this can happen. I mean, this is still has the potential to produce some damaging wind gusts, and I'm going to see if I can get some radar estimates really quickly, although they might not, because this is so far away from the radar site and scanning multiple levels here, multiple angles, it might not be the best. But yeah, we could be getting some wind gusts that are close to 60, 70 miles an hour here in particular. So again, a storm to take seriously. It has a history of damage. It has produced a tornado at some point in juncture. Oh, here we go. We got a nice radar refresh here, and I think we can see it a little better now. Earl Township, absolutely. It looks like the worst of it might be passing Upper Leacock now. Earl, East Earl, these are places, Terry Hill, Red Run, Brecknock Township, these are all places that need to be heading to their safe space right now. As this storm continues to move from west to east, it is an intense storm. The rotation on it, it's still there. I mean, it's still hanging on. Seeing there's some updates coming in from the NWS feed. I'm trying to see if there's any useful information that I can pass on to you guys. I apologize. Let's see. Yes. Hearing some reports too, some more reports from York County Office of Emergency Management. They're activating their EOC, they say. So, all right, so this storm, still rotating, still moving. We still have a tornado warning in effect. Let's shift our radar here. Let's regroup. This is a look at the tornado warning. It is in effect until 5:15. That's about another 10 minutes to go with this, assuming that they don't continue the warning for the little bit of Lancaster County that is still going to be in it if there were a continuation. Zooming in now, the places I think that it is threatening, at least immediately in the path of this storm: West Earl, Bearville, Bogensville, Hinkletown, Akron, Ephrata, Earl Township, Terry Hill, Weaverland, Hanstown, Red Run, Martindale. These are all places where you need to be getting into your safe space immediately. If you know folks who are traveling home, taking 322, 222, near any of these locations, this is a good time to call a friend, call a family member. Make sure, because sometimes when you're driving and you're traveling, you might not know. And this is a good way to inform them, especially because, like I said, if you're just joining now, there is a history of damage with this storm in York County and now in Columbia. And I saw the damage, pictures that were sent in. Brick buildings were damaged. They were older, but still brick. And usually when brick is damaged, that's a pretty good sign that it was indeed a tornado that passed through. Once you start destroying materials from building structures that are usually supposed to be stronger, I mean, you have to think that. And it's usually a pretty good bet. Of course, there's no official word or confirmation on it, but from what we're seeing visually in the NWS, I mean, it definitely appears like, oh my goodness, we're seeing some roof damage. That's a sure telltale sign here. This is from the East York High School. I'm seeing some of those pictures being dropped now. For folks who didn't hear me say that, was a little bit of a while back. I'm obviously not paying too much attention to the time at this point. I'm just saying this as this is coming in. But yes, I am looking at some pictures. Eastern York High School does have roof damage, and it's some very notable roof damage as well. These storms, this storm in particular, has been pretty nasty. If you have experienced, on that note actually, if you are in portions of Eastern York and Western Lancaster County and this storm has passed through and you have damage and you can safely report it, please do. This is how we help the National Weather Service. You can tell your first responders, you can call in. This is how you help get that information across so that we can continue to inform people and keep them safe. This storm, though, continues to look intense as it heads toward New Holland over in Lancaster County. West Earl, East Earl, Terry Hill, Hinkletown, Red Run, Martindale, these are all places that need to be getting to their safe space right now because this tornado or this tornado warning has a history of producing damage that truly, I mean, it is not a stretch to say the damage that I'm looking at. I know you can't see the pictures that I'm looking at, but it is not a stretch to say that there was at least brief tornado touchdowns. Whether or not there's one still on the ground, that can be touch and go. That can vary with the terrain. They can briefly touch down. They can pop back up, especially in this area because it's not flat like more. The terrain isn't, completely flat here like it is out in, say, the Plain States and areas west of us that get more intense, longer-lived tornadoes on the ground. But, I mean, you got to take the warning seriously. That's all the more reason because when it has a history of it and it's maintaining its strength, you got to make sure that you are doing everything you can to keep yourself safe here. So from what I can see here, and I'm going to try to bring up my velocity mode once again, I think we're starting to get a better read here now that, yes. So this is where, looking at my storm relative velocity, this is where I think we need to be focusing on now. Anywhere near Hinkletown to Terry Hill to East Earl and Earl Township. These are the places where you need to be getting to your safe space right now. I'm also not seeing any word yet that they're going to extend this warning. Not yet anyway, but it is very possible that we can get some damaging wind gusts out of this regardless, even if they just continue this as a severe thunderstorm warning in the next 6 minutes or so. But I do want to give a couple of reports here. Apparently there are words of a water rescue. This has been issued just now, or this has been posted in the NWS chat just now. A water rescue near Manheim in Lancaster County, and then Ephrata in Lancaster County, another water rescue on the roadway. I had said earlier that there was a flash flood warning that was also issued for the county. So please do not drive through any flooded roadways. If you're heading out soon, I would just wait it out at this point because, I mean, there's a tornado warning anyway. That would be the sensible thing to do. Zooming in here, this is exactly where I think we have to watch right now, right where I'm seeing this notch here near East Earl and Weaverland and Terry Hill. This is where we're seeing some of that rotation here on radar. And that's where it is. It's showing up. It's looking pretty good again. This is definitely where I think we need to watch at this point. But if you're anywhere near this particular area in Lancaster County, near Terry Hill, near Weaverland, East Earl, these are the places. It's very possible that this warning gets extended. I'm going to pop back here on screen if we want to take this full real quickly because I need to point here. East Earl, this is what I'm keeping a close eye on. Right here, you see the red here. Red means that we've got winds going away from the radar. Green means we've got winds going toward the radar. That is indicating here that we do have some rotation here with this storm. Anywhere from Terry Hill to Weaverland to East Earl, those are places that this rotation is passing close enough to that you absolutely need to make sure that you are heading to a lower level in your home, an interior room that is away from any type of windows and any type of doors. Blankets, I know it sounds ridiculous, but like I said, if you've been following this for a while, I've seen pictures of brick buildings that have been knocked down, brick buildings, excuse me, that have been knocked, at least partially destroyed in Colombia. It doesn't sound so silly to use a motorcycle helmet or a bicycle helmet or even a really thick quilt when something like that is currently on the table. I have a favorite radar app I like to use too in conjunction with this, so please don't mind if I use this and track in real time. I'm going to do it like it or not here. New Holland, that's one of the places too that needs to be taking good care. That is near Terry Hill. And it also shows different point locations, geographical locations too. And I think that's also very helpful. So right here, I think, is where we're seeing the core piece of the rotation here by East Earl and between Terry Hill, near Weaverland, and also New Holland. These are the places right now that we need to be keeping an extra close eye on at this point in time. This storm is still continuing to slowly move to the northeast, and this does have a history of producing damage that it is not a stretch to say a tornado did it. Just to reiterate that for folks who might be joining now, maybe you're in Lancaster County, make sure you are heading to your safe place now if you are anywhere included in this current warning. It's going on for 3 more minutes, but it would not shock me if this got extended just a little bit longer until this is out of Lancaster County. And we will follow this either until they drop this tornado warning in the next few minutes, or maybe they extend it a little bit more for the portion of Lancaster County that it might be continuing to go into before it gets warned either in Berks County or Chester County, but that's going to be the NWS and Philly office's job, not State College, who helps serve our area. But yes, I'm still seeing the core of this rotation here, still just to the north of East Earl, and I definitely think if you're near East Earl Township, you need to be heading to your safe place right now. If we can actually pull up some of those bullets, it'll give me some time to go back into the weather office so that I can see if they're giving any insight. Usually they'll give us, a heads up. Hey, this is what we're thinking. We think we're going to continue this warning. We think we're just going to give a severe thunderstorm warning for the rest of it. We're going to keep, so I'm going to see here if they're giving any type of insight as to what they're going to do moving forward here. Till then though, instead of leaving up velocity mode, I will pull up the full warning box because I think that's going to be more useful. You need to have, there we go, an idea of what we're doing here. So I'm zooming into the part of the tornado warning that I think is still relevant here. Like I said, Terry Hill, New Holland, East Earl. Anywhere ahead of that, if you live east of there, like Carnarvon, Narvon, Brecknock Township, those are places that you need to be on guard, be on notice as we wait and we see if this tornado warning is going to be extended or if it's going to be allowed to expire. In just about a minute now at this point. So far, no word here. There have been some reports of flooded yards, severe building damage and collapsed walls. Okay, that is the official report being made now for the building that I told you about, the brick building that I saw in Columbia and Lancaster County from this storm at the very beginning of the warning. Let's see, and I'm not getting any word yet on whether or not they are going to extend it or expire it. So we'll hang with it for now, but right now, the core of the rotation here, it is almost out of the warning box too, so it is just to the east of New Holland and Terry Hill. I'll zoom in a little bit closer here, and I'll use a pointer here so that that's a little more helpful for you all. Terry Hill, Weaverland, New Holland, I think it is officially as far past you as it can be, but I mean, I think anywhere 625, PA Route 625, intersecting with Union Grove Road. If you are near those locations, that rotation is currently passing right over you. It is almost out of the warning box. It is 5:15 now. Let's see if they have allowed it to expire. And it does appear, yes, they have allowed this tornado warning to expire. It seems like the rotation, although it's still there, it must be weak enough that they do not think another tornado warning, or at least an extension of it, is necessary. So we are going to, oh, okay, here we go. They just, okay. Hold on here, guys. I'm trying to figure out what they're doing here. Okay, it does appear that the warning has been dropped. All right, we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll keep an eye because it does look like at the very least here that we are going to get past these last clusters of showers and storms, and then that should be it through the rest of the evening, fortunately, because there isn't much out to our west. But I'll leave it here for you guys. Do we want to go to break? I'll just talk to my producer straight up here on what to do, what you would like to do now, because we no longer need to stay with this. How about we just go to break then, and then we kind of figure it out from there, guys.
Introduce